Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, blokes and Sheilas. I'm going to be sipping with water today. It's Sunday and tomorrow's a school day, so I'm going to try and be responsible today. Sips. But far be it from me to tell you what to do. You can go and drink whatever you like. Sunday, why the hell not? So, a bit better organised today. I actually have my guest. Unlike Friday, where I got everything completely wrong. But hey, we had a good time anyway. Robin popped in. We talked about how, Troy Thompson is still under fire and how, he's, the only person in our council that hasn't completely ballsed everything up, but they want to get rid of him. Interesting. Like it's amazing. You can be as useless as Liam Mooney spent $800,000 of ratepayer money and, get 180 of it back, I think it was, if memory serves. That's okay by the state government. That's fine. But if you send a naughty email, you got to go. You've got to go. Does my head in. So, are we ready for the by-election that they're no doubt going to force upon us? I dare say they've probably got a whole bunch of candidates ready to go. Probably useless idiots like Les Walker, and the rest of the rejects that we've already told the world we don't want. We've got to try and run them again because I guess they're all in the unemployment line at the moment. They're probably keen to get a hold of the taxpayer and ratepayer strings again, fill the coffers up while they sit around and do 2/5 of nothing. Tick all the ordinary boxes, make sure things keep going in the same downward direction, holes in the roads, bridges not built, garbage not being collected. Yeah, our council's doing a great job. But you know what? Troy Thompson sent an email. That's the most important thing. Anyway, I covered all that on Friday. Go have a look in amongst all the other strange things. Hey, Yoda's still here. What's Yoda got to say?
Help like that, yes.
Probably more helpful than Townsville City Council too. Anyway, let's get to our guest. Get onto this show. Heidi is back. How are you, Heidi?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I got my friends.
Yes.
More helpful than Townsville City Council. Alrighty then. So you're having some fun. The mainstream media's been got you in the crosshairs like they have Troy Thompson and anybody else that seems to be, thinking logically and doing things for themselves. Naughty Townsvillians have been voting in the wrong direction. You're another naughty North Queenslander who's standing up for yourself and using the tools available, such as the internet, where you can go and look up any of the things we're going to discuss. It's all information that is there and available to anyone. We're not giving any sort of legal advice here. We're just having a discussion about the mad world we live in.
Mad, bad, and dangerous world we're living in. I think that was the headline.
Yes, we should probably bring the article up since you brought it up straight away. So this is the kind of garbage that's getting around at the moment. Give me a second to just pull it up. Not that folder. I got too many things open. Moment of chaos. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The ice cream truck came through before we did this podcast, and wow, when ice cream trucks in town, you got to go and say good day, don't you? So that's that. And where did I put it? I need everything to be large so I can see it. Nothing else means nope. I had it just before. There it is. I forgot to label it properly. It just says page 1. That's why I couldn't find it. All right. Let's bring it up. Share the screen. This is the kind of gobbledegook that comes out of the mainstream media these days and passes for journalism, apparently. Mad, bad, and dangerous. And there you are, right in the center. You're actually the centerpiece, really, because you're standing in front of all these other people. The good old Mike Palmer from the Know Your Rights group gets a mention. It's just, one hell of an interesting article we've got here. And opening line, gobbledegook. So just like I always recommend to people when they're throwing out insults, take them and own them, which is why this podcast is currently called Gobbledegook today. Would you care to comment on the gobbledegook pseudo law that is fueling a massive rise in a number of self self-proclaimed sovereign citizens. I don't ever recall you saying that you're a sovereign citizen. In fact, we've never really said that here on this podcast.
No,
Would you care to respond to this wild, unfounded accusation?
I've never even been called in the courts. Quite to the contrary.
Wow.
Where this is fueled from is a bunch of professors that lectured at the New South Wales University. Harry Hobbs, Stephen McIntyre, this Healthman that did the Four Corners show recently. And it's been a great discussion. They invited scholars, non-scholars. They wrote a book. They've had a book launch. And this is all whilst using information that is actually in front of the court at the moment, where the Legal Service Commissioner has said that I've given legal advice to somebody, and although that somebody has been vindicated on all of those charges from murder right through to registering a child, they're still pursuing that. And they had this lovely scholars evening with their deans of the university, and they've actually openly discussed it. But then not only that, they've written a paper on it that's got as far as German newspapers and everything. It's just, it's incomprehensible for me how this has blown up so much. And they've actually legitimately brought in front of the court using the Justice Act and actually calling me a sovereign citizen for using bringing a private prosecution on someone because the police didn't do anything, and that was stayed. So it wasn't dismissed, it wasn't struck out, it was permanently stayed. And this is in their footnotes of this article. If you Google, you've got the document Harry Hobbs versus Harry Hobbs, Heidi Ward, this article will come up, and I'm actually in the introduction. I'm like paragraph 1. And verbatimly, they have got everything so wrong. It is unbelievable.
So sorry, which bit? I've got so much stuff up here. I'm trying to figure out which.
Yeah, this is the pseudo beyond the bar, I think it's called. It's their actual scholars' evening where they've written about me and produced a paper in the universities.
We can quickly Google it, can't we? Sorry, what am I chucking in?
Just put Heidi Ward, Harry Hobbs, and it'll come up. Or Stephen McIntyre or David Healthman.
Dr. Harry Hobbs.
Can grab it and send it.
Yeah, maybe do that. It might be the quickest way. I'm guessing we're talking about this guy here. I might just bring.
He's a little guy with glasses.
Yeah, weedy looking dude.
Hobbs.
This fella here.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah. So you feel free to email him at h.hobbs@nunsw.edu.au. Ladies and gentlemen, go nuts, and perhaps you can ask him some questions. He works at the university, he knows everything. Just ask him. Got a PhD and everything. Wow.
Oh, that come up.
I mean, it looks like he's biting through his lip. What's he on?
Well, he's apparently so I'm trying to find your thing. It's not coming up.
Oh, yeah. My email address.
No, I got it. Hang on.
So I think
yeah. So he is apparently a constitutional lawyer, a public something specialist, all of this, and that article, in my opinion only, is an affront to Section 116 of the Constitution. And they're literally, anyone that speaks up, they're labelling as a sovereign citizen. And now these things I brought under the Justice Act. I fronted up to nearly 220 court cases. There's nothing. I've actually had the new senior sergeant who obviously because of this newspaper article, he has told me, he's put an intel reporting that I'm not a sovereign citizen. It's unfortunately he has done a good job, and this whole thing currently before the court all stems from an incident that today was finally resolved by that senior sergeant. And I had every valid reason to bring what I bought to the court. And this has gone that big. It's been disseminated. They've had book launches in a book. It's gone to German newspapers. It's just, I don't know why they're so worried about me.
Yeah. And that's the real point, though, isn't it? The system is worried about what's going on. They wouldn't be making such a hoo-ha about people standing up for themselves. I think in the article it says something to the effect of, clogging up the court's time. It's like, oh, so that's something that you're worried about, people actually going to court and using the system the way they're supposed to.
Oh, asking questions.
I mean, yeah. Naughty people we are, asking questions and going to court and just defending ourselves against the system that just wants to railroad everybody.
Well, in that article,
whether
go on. Sorry.
No, you're right. You go.
In that article, it talks about that. It says the article talks about sovereign citizens and mental health using statistics. Not that article, the Harry Hobbs Heidi one that I just sent you. And saying that sovereign citizens are more likely to have psychotic episodes. Now, I don't have a degree in psychology, but I have an advanced diploma in one, and I Googled it. It was a study done on 36 people.
Oh, wow. A whole 36
and apparently they have
truth. I mean, how many people are on the planet?
Yeah. But these are professors in universities literally talking about this.
God.
It's absolutely insane. And then it actually said that although there's been, they're trying to stop me, they don't believe my behaviour is going to change, which is why they put the episode with Daryl and myself as an exhibit in my case, even though we didn't talk about anything, didn't give any legal advice to anybody. This is today they might see that I'm continuing with that behaviour. That ideology of that behaviour that they've actually conjured up themselves, because this Robert
You
Sudi.
emailed that thing to me because it hasn't come through.
Text you.
Oh, you
Sorry.
sent it by text, right? Hang on, I just shut the window down. What am I doing? There you are. Okay, cool. Sorry.
You're right.
I thought I shut the whole podcast down for a second. All right, cool. Let's copy that. Let's send that to my phone. Okay.
But what you do now, it actually says, though it is not clear their actions will change Miss Ward's behaviour. But that's assuming authority over me of the behaviour of what, bringing something under the Justice Act to court, actually asking questions why my particulars were not filed in court, yada yada.
I mean, obviously they need to change your behaviour. Like it is, but they don't, and they're concerned that the things that they're doing are not going to have that effect.
But it's also really sad that you've got professors who are supposed to be professionals dealing with the likes of Rob Sudi, right, with their indoctrinated brains, actually finding it funny, if you go onto our council's real website, finding it funny to actually mock someone that's in a serious situation. And then you have people, even in my local community, that are just jumping in and trying to feed him with information or actually create and further the harm that they've already created. I mean, this article, HZX, what you've got there, they didn't go into the merits of that case. That's the precedent for Queensland that I made by helping someone get out of prison, that she was unlawfully in prison for 40 days. And they don't go on and talk about Magistrate Dwyer's behaviour and that he sent her to jail unlawfully. They don't go on and talk about that she was left in jail for an extra week because the Chief Justice didn't know what habeas corpus meant in English. Rather than that, they will make up an entire article false. But more so, where did they get the information from? Because they didn't seek leave of the court pursuant to 975 of the court or put in an application whereby the parties have to agree that that information is released, let alone the exhibits to post in the paper. Where and how did they get it? To discussing it in the first instance.
It certainly makes you wonder. There's obviously something going on here where they're able to access things that they shouldn't be able to access. And why are they bringing...
If you just look at the thing here where it says people have jumped to pseudo lawsuits COVID-19, and I'll say what I said to them here. I said having a legal right to bring and defend matters in the court is not a privilege; it's a right to the rich as it is to the poor. Labelling people sovereign citizens. These scholars have not provided balanced articles. They don't understand due to COVID overreach, mandates, police, inflation, blah, I go on about it. These scholars, what they're writing about here is the very embodiment of hypocrisy. Because going, so I put it here, hypocrisy. On one hand, it purports to analyse why people are challenging authority. But on the other hand, it shows exactly why. It shows exactly why people are. And I said, and the article in itself is defamation of the very problem that it seeks to critique. And they wonder why Australians are standing up and expecting more. When you've got this rubbish that's not even verbatimly true. They've left out that I won my first court case, that 3 other cases were dropped after 2.5 years each after 100 appearances in court. They couldn't be dropped because there was no evidence filed in the court. And then it goes on from there. They're failing to mention anything that they do, but will pick up on me actually playing tennis in the tennis court.
To say things, the peculiar legal theories underlying their arguments and their impact on the administration. And so this is interesting, though, but the peculiar legal theories underlying their arguments somehow have an impact on the administration of justice.
But if you go to the footer down the bottom, they'll talk about Ward v. Sayel, whether it's in that one. And that was actually brought under 42 of the Justices Act, using a Form 3 of the Justices Act. So I don't know how that's meant to be. And HZX, how do you make a precedent? It's at the bottom there. HZX, notice they didn't put the whole judgment in there. The actual judgment was wrong when they re-released it on the 6th of August.
Right.
And that's from the Chief Justice of Queensland herself. And then they've got everything in here. So I filed against Maureen Freaky, and that was with a bunch of other people. And I was just the plaintiff there. And that was to do with the Constitution. Is filing in the High Court and raising a matter, a sovereign citizen matter, is bringing a private prosecution. That's supposed to mean, in their eyes, what it means. Do you know what I mean? So all of these references underneath here actually don't show anything that I've had this unusual behaviour or this said law. I called the court the other day and I said, there's 3 private and confidential letters.
It's interesting the way they've done this here too, because Miss Ward has continued to help others understand that, and it's just 3 words. That's it. Like this is
So
this is a
Eckhart,
joke.
that's
Just quickly looking at this piece of shit that they call, it took 2 of them, or to write this garbage.
But they didn't even take it off the transcript. They took it off an opinion-based newspaper article. And in fact, I stood next to someone nearly a year ago now as Mackenzie's friend, and I sought leave to be a Mackenzie's friend And I was there for 2 minutes. This is after she got out of jail. And I was there for 2 minutes, and I was told I could do that from the back of the court. And I shook my head or something like that. And then security kicked me out of the court. Other than that, I've never stood beside anybody in court. Nobody.
How many pages? 6 pages of utter garbage here.
Yep.
Just
and these
through,
people,
and you've got to go to university with this stupid, eh?
Yeah. The indoctrinated teaching the indoctrinated.
Yeah. You could write a psychological paper on this fucking piece of shit straight away. Hey, these people are idiots.
Don't worry. I did put a 10-page complaint in, and I've already received from certain departments, I'm not going to say who, that it is absolutely being investigated, and I'll say the CCC has actually contacted me. So first time in 8 years I've actually got a phone call that someone's going to do something, but we're getting there.
So this is just, I mean, every podcast it seems to do lately, it's just like these people are, it encompasses quite a lot, the mainstream media. Now we've got professors, the legal system itself, our politicians, everybody who's obviously on the wrong side are just burying themselves more and more every time they attempt to defend their stupidity.
Yeah. If you go, did you get that post where Robert Sudi's actually done a character and put a face of me sitting in a psychiatrist's ward and asking questions?
Yeah,
this is the guy that gets.
I've got the whole thing here.
He gets 5 comments at best, and it's usually only when it's about what it was, international pseudo law encyclopedia, that is incredibly famous, and he has this huge reach. He has a reach because he puts it out there himself. No one's actually listening to him, but he's actually verbatimly said to me that he sits with the professors and deans from the university. So if they're getting information off this dude and they're getting paid to teach people in university and they're still acting lawyers and barristers, it's very, very concerning.
So this is the Our Council Rates legal page. It apparently has 4.9 thousand members. That's an interesting one. Because like you said, three likes, 1 or 2 comments here and there. 6 comments here, probably. They're probably his own fake accounts.
Oh, he's got multiple.
And we believe this is a pseudonym and a fake account in itself.
I don't know much about
loves making stupid little pictures to attack people.
Yep. He's got me sitting in a psychiatrist like this. It's just stupid if you keep going. I don't know who else he'd be picking on, like Wayne Glue, Jodie Lowe, myself.
Well, how much time have these people got to be able to go through and do all this shit? Yeah. Clearly psychologically obsessed.
He's a stalker.
Now he's picking on Jodie here.
I've blocked him. I've told him to leave me alone. I have done every avenue that I can with people. I don't want to know about it. And then I found out through someone else and had a look at the page, and it scrolls back about 2 weeks, and he's got all this stuff.
Oh, there it is.
Like, that's just not a professional. That's not anyone. Yeah. That's outright harm, damaging, mockery, belittling, and it goes directly against the Constitution. You're entitled to your own opinion. Last I looked in Australia.
I mean, you can psychologically analyse this particular scenario as well. He's trying to force his way through the door to answer this question. So Heidi is Robert Sudi character in the room right now, and he's posting it. So, I mean, he's inviting himself into the room. Considering this is social media, everybody's in the room in a sense, So, I mean, wow.
I didn't see
this guy's got a serious obsession.
Yeah. He actually went on about some pornography stuff with me, and all this. Remember, I told you about that way back, and he said really under handed grotesque things, and yet he has actually said that he absolutely speaks to these professors and deans of the university.
Disturbing behaviour, if and if it's a pseudonym, there's a good chance that maybe he's one of these amazing professors that have an obsessive compulsion about you.
Well, I guess that's where he's got that off my page, because I don't know whether he is or he isn't.
And obviously very confident in who he is and what he says by making a fake profile and all this other stuff and hiding in the shadows. Because I mean, generally when people, we're not hiding because we've got nothing to hide, but these people do.
And you just have to put in their mindset that they know that they're twisting the facts.
Yeah.
They know it's not true. And they go to such lengths as to do characters and just absolutely wrong.
It's childish.
It's delusional. So let his name suits him really well. Free man delusional. Delusion, I think he calls himself. So yeah, but it's the fact that you also have people that come and try and assist him because they may have a personal grievance because you might have been a conspiracy theorist that didn't want to take an experimental blah blah blah, and they'll jump in. And I had an appeal just recently with the Legal Service Commission, which they struck out. Whatever, another story. And then this lady, a local lady from Bowen who loves all the gossip, she's posted up on Rob's page, you might want to have a look at this. It's fucking public knowledge. You can just Google the court list. I talk about it myself. It's just this mentality of these job on your neighbour, like we saw in COVID. Well, you're not vaccinated,
It's typical socialist behaviour in that regard. You can see it's coming from a position where they just want control, and how dare you ask questions and point out that they've got it all wrong and what they're doing. It's just the obsessive compulsive desire of these people.
I've had a turnaround. So the criminal matter that's under appeal at the moment that stemmed from something that was blatantly not true. So that's with the attorney, DJ at the moment, that individual that made a death threat, the neighbour that made a death threat, a very serious one. He's now been charged very seriously with all the evidence and everything, which actually the police in the first instance didn't investigate properly, and that's when they created this situation that I'm now in. And the lovely police officer that was here today, he said, we need more people like you that stand up, and I couldn't thank him enough. The new senior sergeant's been great, and I had another private prosecution matter yesterday. I can't speak to it because it's private. However, Magistrate Hardigan, she did an amazing job. She stuck to the letter of the law. She didn't move out of it, and my application was successful, and so potentially we have a little bit of a shift happening, and debating over the legislation and getting a bit hot-headed between themselves, and I'm the one that doesn't understand.
That's pretty funny when they can't even figure it out.
That's right.
Coming undone, because people like yourself can figure out what's going on and point out that they have no clue, and that's obviously pissing them off. Hang on, that's the second. Is there an audio issue going on? Is the audio coming through all right on your end? Because it's clear as here. Apparently, there's a few people saying there's something wrong with the audio.
It's clear on our end. It just seems to be Facebook and Rumble seems to be crackling at the moment.
Okay. So something's wrong with Facebook and Rumble. It's clear. It's clear on all our ends. I'm not sure what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Why things are crackly? Oh, it's crackly. Both of you at their end. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on there. So there's nothing that we're doing that we can change, ladies and gentlemen, because seems to be working quite clearly at all our ends. I can hear Heidi fine. It might just be something to do with Facebook, perhaps, because most of the comments seem to be coming from Facebook. Oh, and there's one from Rumble. I don't know. Maybe try one of the other platforms. We do have other platforms if it's really bad. You can try X. You can try YouTube, as much as I wouldn't recommend it. There's BitChute as well.
If it's both of us, it's not me then, is it?
No. I think there's something going on that's beyond our control. So anyway. Sorry, continue. There's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. Sorry, people. Yeah, the best I can recommend is try a different platform at this point. So I'm not sure why it's doing what it's doing. So anyway, where were we?
The other thing I wanted to raise in this article coming up the other day, which is in regards to the Legal Service Commissioner, it's an injunction, so it's not a criminal prosecution. I can't, they had a year to bring criminal charges against me. That year has surpassed. They haven't, as far as I understand, they can't do anything. They don't even have any bloody prima facie evidence. But
is this the Mad Bad Dangerous article? Sorry,
the Legal Service Commissioner that those professors are discussing me about. So basically I went back through these private and confidential letters, and then I realized these private and confidential letters were placed on the court file. So I called the court up and I said, how did the newspaper Courier Mail get that? Because the irony is they are a witness gave the Legal Service Commissioner and wrote an affidavit that they'd received it. I went back and said, great, thank you for acknowledging that you have it. And now they go and write that bloody article and they have a notice of liability and they've sworn an affidavit. And that was to stop publishing stuff about me, stop doing all these things. So anyway, looking at these private and confidential letters, I'm like, okay, the newspaper's got it. Oh, shit, they did report about me on the 14th of October. They actually used the words out of the private and confidential letters. So I called the court and they said, unless there's a court order on it, anyone can see it. And that's not true. And so the registry Courier Mail, without following the rules and giving exhibits, which is the brochure that I was not allowed to share, they then put in the paper of what it was. And there's apparently no Privacy Act in the courts. Apparently, unless the judge says it's private, that word private and confidential means nothing.
Interesting.
So then I went, hang on a minute. So it's weird because it's a year later. I realised I've got these documents. So on the 19th of September 2024 at 11:15 a.m, I got a document from one of the lawyers in the commission that said that they'd filed against me. 1 hour and 52 minutes later, I got an email saying that it's alleged at the moment they haven't made up their mind on what they're going to do, but I had till the 11th of October to bring submissions in regards to it because the model legal principles, they're supposed to, do a bit of an investigation first. But it's the same, and she is the professional conduct lawyer or whatever she is for the commission, signed an affidavit on the 6th, on the 19th that we haven't made our mind up, you've got till the 11th. So filed 3 days prior to telling me I had nearly a month to respond to them.
Fascinating.
Sent on the same day. And legal practitioners are under her title. And that document I found at page 249 of the appeal handbook that they'd done, and it's sort of like tucked in the back somewhere and it wasn't time stamped and what have you. So I wasn't afforded the right to respond. Hence, they've gone on a fishing expedition, in my opinion, using shows like this to say that I'm not going to stop.
Well, when you're having so much fun, why would you? I mean, I'm kind of speechless at the level of incompetence, you know. And
It's riddled. So I had something happen. I was not allowed leave to. I'm not going to incriminate myself here, but had a call over by telephone. It was really weird, and the police, so they're late filing their argument against my appeal, and they get on there and they admitted it. They need to hear it on its merits. So don't worry about the rules of the court. Don't worry about the Justices Act. Don't worry about the practice direction rules. Who's the fucking sovereign citizen here if you don't do that? And then the DPP goes, oh, we'll just hear it on its merits.
wow.
And then I might have raised a few things there, and things happened from there. So then they brought on a call over out of the blue, and then suddenly I was allowed to appear by telephone. And my appeal's likely to be struck out. When the directions were 3 points, I'm allowed to, if I need to, bring some more submissions by a certain date. The police have now got an extension of time rather than being barred by a certain date, and then to turn up in court. And then rule 4, the direction 4 was, if you don't follow the directions, your appeal is likely to be struck out. And I'm asking for a sealed copy of that order. They're refusing to give it to me, and then they brought on this call over. Now I've got on there, and the judge has gone, is there any strikeout applications? So he's now trying to blame the DPP. If there was a strikeout application, it'd be on court file. And the DPP can't strike out an appeal. That's the judge's job. So they're literally trying to cover up what happened. Wow. So in that court, the directions were totally ignored. They got an extension of time. But in my appeal, when I sought leave to extend time, I was told no.
I'm trying to figure out how they need an extension of time. I mean, if they've brought the matter forth in the first place.
That's my appeal.
It's your appeal. Okay, cool.
And they had to respond to my appeal. And on 2 occasions, they've sent their response to the wrong address.
Wow. These people are special.
And then to try and get out of it, they sent me a notice of address, stamped and sealed in the court, which I think you have. And it actually says that the senior sergeant is the respondent. It says it's Ward versus QPS. It's being run by the DPP, yet the senior sergeant is the respondent with the respondent's details being reached known at law, as is the DPP. And I've been questioning all the registrars and everyone. Who am I up against here? Just give me one. I've got 5 separate parties to the proceeding. I just want to know who it is, and I'm entitled to know who it is. Johnson versus Miller.
Well, that's it. How are you supposed to have an argument if you don't know who you have an argument with?
Well, then you go all the way backwards to the magistrates' court and the police prosecutors. You can Google this. They do a 3-month course in-house to be a prosecutor. And some of the prosecutors I've seen recently, they normally put a barrister up against me, but the prosecutors I've seen watching some other people in court, they're not even trying to pretend they're in a Hollywood movie. They're that bad.
Yeah.
They don't even know. And these people have the ability after 3 months offences that can put people in jail for 3 years.
3 months, that's it.
3 months.
That's their training.
So they do 5 to 6 up to 8 months cadetship. They go out on the road. They say you've got to be a police officer for around 3 to 5 years. It's very hard to find. And then if you want to become a prosecutor, you do a 3-month course.
Wow. Anyone
And
that is desperate to try and protect this system. I mean,
but they're not legal professionals.
yeah.
And Section 42 does say anyone can of the Justice Act, anyone can prosecute. Right? I can't find anything in the Justice Act that talks about public prosecution. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a bit weird that there is nothing on file in the courts, all in a box under the table with the police until you go to trial. And in my case, the magistrate ordered the particulars the day before, and he actually says it in the transcript. He took it upon himself to order particulars, and then the particulars were changed. And that's Section 1 of the Criminal Code, Section 1, not 975. And then they do, and they play around, and it's just fascinating. They're saying that I'm a sovereign citizen, I'm delusional, but wouldn't it be a problem if there's no particulars filed in court? Who's the delusional?
Yeah.
So they literally hope that people are going to play. My guess is they're hoping people are going to plead guilty.
Yeah.
People have a choice legal aid. That's not going to help them. Never going to see a trial if it's legal aid. Then you have to spend $50,000 on a lawyer, or you represent yourself to go to trial. Most self-represented, they rely on the fact that they're not going to be able to beat them in trial and do whatever they do. So where's the equity for anyone that's facing the court that knows that they're innocent to be able to bring about a charge like confidently, and not a charge, bring about a defence confidently when you don't even know what you're actually facing? And the lawyers and solicitors, so I've made a complaint to the Legal Service Commissioner that every matter that doesn't check whether or not there are particulars, further and particulars on file, are failing their clients and shouldn't be taking money.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things they state in this article, that Mad, Bad and Dangerous is that, they're selling snake oil. Well, who's selling snake oil when you look at the points you're making here?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, 100%. Who's pushing people through the court system as quick as they can without following what I see as the Justice Act? That'd just be great to start with. And they bring people in on bench sheets and notices to appear, and they normally say on so-and-so date, and I'll make something up, the one so-and-so obstructed the police officer. And then you're supposed to go in and say whether you're guilty or not guilty when you don't actually have the particulars.
Yeah.
And there's case law out your bloody nostrils that says they have to have particulars. But they all know it. So when I actually challenged them at my trial that I didn't have particulars, the magistrate went, let me do a little bundle up for you and I'll give it to you. We'd already started. They'd already amended my charge the day before. They raised an application, and then I was charged on a charge that was never before the court. And he reads out that you've got to actually meet every element of the particulars. The prosecution must find you guilty beyond reasonable doubt, and that means meeting every element of those particulars. So in my case, they dropped the aggravating elements from those particulars, which I hadn't seen, which I've only just found hidden. I'm going to call it hidden. I've got them. They're Exhibit 1 in my trial. Do you know what my charge would have been?
I remember this one.
It was Section 341B AI. So I'm face down on the ground. I just smashed my lip. I've got medical reports that say my tongue was spit, and I spat. And they said, "Don't spit at me." I said, "I didn't spit at you. I spat at my own nose." So I wasn't charged with obstruction. I wasn't charged with assault. So that became serious assault with aggravated elements, which is 14 years imprisonment. So at trial, they went, we're going to drop the word spitting and biting. Okay, then we're going to make it a simpliciter. Do you agree with that, Miss Ward? Well, yeah. Okay, so what have I done now? I've turned my head to someone. That is it. And I was charged, so they removed the aggravation off it, simplified the offence, and then at the end of it, I was charged with the aggravated elements, which I said didn't have jurisdiction, and it didn't in that court. And then he spat at me saying that I was vile and a woman. And then he used case law against me of and this is his words, not mine, a Maori gang that beat up a police officer in 1948.
Wow.
Yeah. And he told me I was vile, and he told me all these things, and it was not a charge before the court. And both the barrister that was acting for the prosecution and he knew it because it's all in the transcript. And this is why the Triple C have actually taken action this time.
Wow.
And I'm the sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
My behaviour is changing.
You got to wonder. You really got to wonder, eh? So the sound on Rumble's choppy. Sorry, I can't do anything about it, guys. I don't know what's going on. So like, I'm receiving the signal.
If no one can hear it, Mark, what's the point?
Yeah. Look, you know, I dare say that it's just something to do with the live stream. Hopefully, it'll be okay when people watch it back later. I'll have to check it after the fact. I'll be able to download this and re-upload it if need be. We'll see what happens, but we'll just keep going as you know.
Well, I also believe there's some friends of ours that we know quite well, been on your show before. In that article, one of them, they are actually taking matters further to get what the word sovereign citizen actually means.
That'd be good to see what their definitions are. You know, I know Mike Palmer certainly responded to the article quite well on his Facebook page as well. He ripped it apart, and especially seeing that the Yahoo who wrote it decided to call Mike and attempt to say things that he was going to be giving him his side of the story, but he clearly didn't.
So I called him up.
Yeah, you called him. That's right. Yep.
And I said, "G'day, mate. How you going? Have you written an article about me?" And he goes, "Oh, and I said, "That'll be me." Yep. And he goes, "But I'd already said, do you have a minute to talk?" And I said, "Yep." And then he goes, "Oh," and he hung up. And then he texted me and said that he got it from those professors, which is how I found the other article. And if I had a complaint to go to Elise Scott, now Elise Scott was the original person that wrote the bad article on me way back in 2019, and she's obviously not in this area anymore. She's down that way, in Victoria somewhere, and it's how the tide turns. Do you know what I mean? It just comes back a full circle. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's just hit job after hit job, and they're not very convincing at what they do.
Well, look at Four Corners now with Donald Trump. That's how far it's gone.
Well, let's have a look at that actually, because I think this is quite entertaining.
The deals I made, for the most part, other than what my kids are doing, they're running my business. But most of the deals that I've made.
Oh, hang on, I'll bring it back to the beginning.
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program. The Australia, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. How much wealthier are you now than when you returned to the White House? Well, I don't know. The deals I made, for the most part, other than what my kids are doing, they're running my business. But most of the deals that I've made were made before. And that's what I've done. You know what? Do you see that area? Yeah. That is going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world.
It is appropriate, President Trump, that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting.
In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. Your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
go ahead, John.
Okay, maybe you can
set a nicer tone.
Well, the irony is that I have an interim injunction, and what the Legal Service Commissioner is doing is bringing an injunction. If you go to O'Neill versus Australian Broadcasting Corporation, that's the very case law I'm using in my case, in my defense against them. And here we are again, a full circle. You've got the President of the United States against the ABC. They don't seem to learn.
Well, that's it. They just keep digging this hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's plain. I think it's very plain for most people to see. You look at the stuff that's getting around on social media, and I think I got a couple of the memes here actually. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble with some of these things. Let's have a look. See if I can find a couple here. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's just hilarious. So it's not exactly what I was looking for, but it's a good place to start anyway. Oh, stop that one. Share this one. Face right now. Are you in Melbourne? Well, that was hilarious. Let's see if we can find one of the ones I want. Why would people be losing faith? I mean, these are not my memes. These are the ones that are just getting around. We have absolutely no idea why people who took 5 experimental vaccines in 24 months are dying suddenly. Why have we lost faith in these people? I wonder.
Well, I actually wrote that in the final of my complaint letter, but there's other articles there that says con artist sovereign citizen movement causes violence, and my name comes straight up underneath it.
Oh wow! Here's another good one. Raise your hand if you have completely stopped believing in the mainstream media. I mean, I didn't make these memes. This is just what's getting around the internet at the moment. This is the general public opinion.
So I'll just read this last bit of my article. It just says the scholars have not provided a balanced article due to what's happening around us. The article written by scholars is the very embodiment of hypocrisy, blah, blah, blah. My defense to this commentary that fuels the growing disillusionment with the system is far from providing a thesis. This article proves mine. This overreach, it's a lack of accountability, having the ordinary Australian to stand up and demand something better. And we are, because we can see through it.
That's it. And it's plain as day. Some more examples of the mainstream media fucking it up. Today, the people of Australia stood up. Hundreds of thousands of ordinary Australians showed up peacefully, powerfully, and united. Not as extremists, not as agitators, but as mothers, fathers, tradies, truth tellers. The narrative has cracked, and no amount of spin will unsee what we've seen. Like anybody who's getting out there and seeing what's actually going on. I mean, I have conversations with people all the time. I think one of the things that said, that, I was discussing these kind of things the other day with a work colleague, and the simple statement he made was, "Well, we've got to keep the illusion of democracy going, don't we? We've got to," and that's what it is. They're just trying to keep the illusion alive.
Well, there's a double-edged sword to that, because there's a lot of theories about Iron Mountain and how the UN and all of that, because I read a lot. But what this could be is part of the plan as well, because if people only become patriotic to their country at a time of war, and they need patriotism to exist, trying to create, because wars create money. So it's a hard one there. It's a double-edged sword, but totally agree that we've got the right to stand up, and we're lucky. We've got the right still to say something. Yeah,
and that's why we've got to move while we can, before we don't have that right anymore. I mean, as this wonderful meme says here, would you blindfold yourself and eat whatever someone fed to you? No, then stop letting the media do it to you. And we can see that now. I mean, if you just look at the articles that they print and don't check them, then you're subject to their bullshit. But the minute you go and have a look at, say Mike Palmer's friggin' response to these things, you can see just what a joke these articles are. The same as when the mainstream media here tried to accuse Troy Thompson of being blackboard, who was an Indigenous fella. They're just making shit up. literally making shit up as they go. And still left that actually believes the bullshit these people are spinning.
Yeah, there are. Sadly.
Yes, unfortunately. But, you know, cheers to everyone that speaks the truth, and no matter how much it bothers other people, particularly in the mainstream.
What's George Orwell's, I'll put that at the bottom of my complaint. George Orwell said, let me grab it. It says, in a time of, I could say it, but I'm going to quote it exactly what it says. Hang on, I've got everything everywhere. Basically, in a time of that we're going through at the moment, speaking the truth is a revolutionary act. It's something to be like, you're a weirdo if you're speaking the truth. Yeah,
I think I know the one you're talking about. It's something to the effect of, you know, in an insane world, sanity seems insane.
Yeah. I don't know what's happened to it. I'm not quite organised with all of that.
In a world full of lies, the truth seems fictional, you know, something like that, you know. It's the basic concept.
Oh, here it is. Oh. Well, it's not. Sorry, I don't know what I've done with it. Anyway, but it's along those lines, and it's apparently, you know, speaking the truth, you can't do it. And if you do, you're a sovereign citizen, or you're labelled with something that you're crazy, or, and you know, and then you've got all the critiques, the keyboard warriors, whatever they are, that'll pick you up on spelling mistakes and saying what you're saying is a load of nonsense. And so what if it is? Who gives them that place to think that they're smarter and better and wiser and know the exact situation?
Well, if it's all nonsense, then what's the problem? Like, surely the court system can easily go, no, sorry, that's nonsense, out, dismiss. So well, I don't know what kind of a threat is it?
Yeah.
Clearly, it can't be that damaging.
No.
Yeah. I mean, here's your George Orwell. In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. Freedom is the freedom to say
that's in the George Orwell book, because when he gets taken in, they ask him if 2 + 2 = 4, and he says yes. And apparently, in that dystopian world, it can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah, it was clear in the book, 1984.
Yeah.
2 + 2 is 5.
Well, I saw a guy interviewing a new generation individual, and he asked that very same question. She said, "Well, where maths came from, I'm not sure. It could be this, it could be this. It depends." And she does not equal 4. But we're the sovereign citizens. We're the delusional ones.
Yeah. Actually, there was speaking of, again, these are the same people who can identify what 82 different genders, but they don't know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think the likes, we just can only hope that the likes of Robert Studi, whoever he may be, falls on his sword in the end, because when you treat people like that and you make up stories and you actually act, these common law people are saying, I haven't harmed anyone, right? I haven't harmed anyone. They all agree if someone harms someone else, then there should be a penalty against that.
Yeah.
Whereas these very people, what they've done just to me, and I'm sure there's plenty of me's out there, Mike Palmer, what they've done with these newspaper articles, these scholars' reports, it's in German bloody newspapers, and then following it up, going on to my own Facebook page, snapshotting stuff, and blurring what's actually being said, and they're the ones causing harm. That's okay.
Yeah.
They should be here's my friends, but they roll around and it's going to come around because as of yet, I have not given up the fight.
Mm.
And all I've got left.
That's it. You naughty, naughty.
Well,
person.
I had 89 matters. You can see them all behind me in the court at one stage. I now currently have an appeal, which is already in the hand of the Triple C, and I have the Legal Service Commissioner, who I've asked to withdraw based on what these people have done. And there's not even a date set down for the trial. So that is all I've got. I can't get it in any trouble. It's just what it is. So I'm going to have plenty of time soon, Rob.
That'll make an interesting podcast. At the end of the day, you know, if what these people are doing is so right, and they've got nothing to worry about, eh? But if what you're doing is wrong, people are waking up.
It's this projection that they do. So the narcissism, they can't see what they're doing. They project because they actually get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
They love hurting people. And they put it all there on Facebook and they get people involved. And that's all been snapshot. Please continue doing it. I'm really happy for you to just keep doing what you're doing. Stay on that path, and we'll see how that works out in the end.
Yeah, and as the horrible, nasty people we are, we just give thanks to all these people for providing us wonderful content for the podcast, and keeping people like yourself entertained.
Yes. Well, I have spoken to the lovely new senior sergeant and police officers in regards to this, because potentially if Donald Trump's in regards to the professors, which is in regards to, it's got a little bit big. It's not just, a little, you might have done this, you might have done that. This is actually now including the President of the bloody United States of America. You just can't make this shit up.
Yeah. And the Americans have always been very good at interfering in other countries when they think their sense of justice is forcing them into action. I'm curious to see what comes of it all.
But you just think about Reporter. What an absolutely dumb question to ask. If you had, as a reporter, 2 minutes with them, regardless if you're against or for, why would you, you don't know anything about Donald Trump, and what, should he give up all of his businesses that got him to where he was, where he also wasn't paid to run for the president? What, because that journalist thinks he shouldn't have ulterior motives? Have a look at how many houses our politicians own. Have a look at what businesses are involved. He's not isolated. All involved did something. That's how it works.
And how many the slew of other presidents that have come before him that have all managed to increase their wealth quite a fair bit whilst running the country as well. Why weren't they looked into
beforehand? That's right. He had it beforehand, and that's well documented.
Yeah.
What a stupid question.
And all the years that the American system has tried to use that same argument, they've taken it to court and lost. But you're still going to ask the same dumb question over and over again.
So you want someone that's capable of doing something, that's got business acumen, that can actually run people, run this. But by the way, you can't have a business. You never have been in business, and all your life's work right up until now, you have to get rid of that. It's just...
As Rachel pointed out, that reporter was probably paid a lot of money to embarrass himself like that. Almost as good as the idiot journalist that tried to trap Elon Musk in an interview that he bloody put up straight away on X. And you just see, Elon traps him in his own lie. It's like, you've just lied. You flat out just lied. He calls him. That it's unfortunate that that's what passes as journalism these days. So they're so busy trying to twist and turn everything. Just tell the truth. That's what your job is.
But
report what's actually happening.
But the irony is that professors, if you go on and read it, they invited scholars and non-scholars. They've written a book and had a book launch, whatever. But they actually based it on, it's in the bottom of the newspaper article, but the transcript and then completely different. It's like they can't join the dots. Why would any Scholar, an opinion-based article for a journalist that works for mainstream media. Oh, it must be true.
Yeah. Two wrongs make a right, don't they?
Two wrongs don't make a right. So, and that hopefully the truth will come out in all of this at the end, because there's pages, I've got scribble all over it, but pages and pages of vice chancellors and universities and legal service commissioners, all of them that have all been sent this 10-page. They can't interfere with court proceedings. It's under the legislation, their own legislation, that they are not to comment or interfere in proceedings sub judice. It's a road of paper.
Yeah. Hate to be them right now. I mean, these people are supposed to be experts in the law, aren't they? Isn't that what they do in a university? That's supposed to be their job. It's supposed to be the field of knowledge, but they seem to be getting it wrong.
Well, the Legal Service Commissioner herself can't even get the... I actually suggested, rather than taking me to court, that she should use the state's money to actually put in a training program within her own office. Because of what I've seen, if she's in charge of 16,000 people, what I've seen in my case, I don't know what else happens. But if you've got staff members setting up within an hour and 52 minutes of each other documents that have already been filed in court with the wrong date, and you know it's in the paper, you know it's highly publicised, you know what's going to happen. And not only the day that the Courier Mail sent their affidavit about my notice of liability, its cease and desist notice, they then, that very day, just so happened at 6:22 in the morning, they wrote the article. Just so happened the affidavit was delivered to the Legal Service Commissioner on the very same day. How did they get the information on the same day?
Very good question. Very good.
And they think we can't see it.
Yeah.
We're stupid. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's coincidence. Let's ignore the rules of the court. Let's just go on merits.
Madness. Utter madness. And at the end of the day, the system is supposed to function on people having faith in it. How can you have faith in things that are so obviously wrong?
And then you see someone like had 8 years of this, or predominantly big time 5 years, and I finally, after I've gone through all of this, I've been knocked over in my own home, broken arm, been locked up, all of this. Finally this morning, the truth comes out. The police actually came and did something about what I was complaining about that was turned on me. They can see how wrong it's been, and it's taken me 5 years to fight this, to prove now the truth. And I get a little bit of a warm fuzzy over it.
Yeah.
I get a little win in the court case yesterday, and I get a warm fuzzy. There's just a hope that we might have justice. There must be a hope that we have a good cop. We got to have a hope that someone's going to do the right thing. Meanwhile, I've been in front of the court 220 times, fought my ass, not worth it. And I still go, I hope we're turning the corner. Because I've had an actual something work the right way. Yeah. Crazy.
A lot of hard work to get to that point, though, and it shouldn't be this way. Surely it's just easier for everyone to do the right thing.
We had I was sitting in the back of a court the other day watching some people, and I was really intrigued about it because it was a similar situation to mine, and they had aggravated elements dropped as well. So I said I call him Tinky Winky, the prosecutor, after I'd had a chat to him outside, and I was just there to learn, and they dropped it, a serious assault charge with aggravating elements. They dropped off the aggravating bits, and I said, so what's that now? And he said, section 335 of the criminal code. And I said, so would you call that an indictable offence? And he said, yes. And I went, really? And then the guy that was there picked up what I'd asked, and then he asked the magistrate if that was an indictable offence. And she went on to say that years, and yes, it was an indictable offence. And I sort of leant forward and went, okay. So she went on to read why it was. And in fact, she was wrong. And she realised when she was reading it out, she was wrong. I just sat there and said nothing. I was like, And you just have to wonder. She's the same magistrate that told me to get myself together. It was a load of what I was saying was a load of garbage. When later it was a misunderstanding of sport. She on transcript. I hope they get it. She, as a magistrate, also bolstering that with that she'd been in criminal law for 20 years. How many people came to her place that thought that were on a misdemeanor that she told them was a indictable offence and very serious? A big difference in money or what you would plead to that.
I hope a lot of people are going back through the court records at the moment and going, maybe we've got to appeal these decisions, because that's pretty bad, for 20 years to be getting it wrong.
I'm not saying she got it wrong for 20 years, but it would assume from what she said that it was plausible.
Yeah, it is. It's a very plausible assumption, to brag. I've been, to be doing the job for 20 years and be so wrong on something so simple.
Well,
again, there's another psychological construct there, the arrogance of these people.
And there's no apology if they get it wrong, yet they put people in front of the court every day and say, are you remorseful? In my case, I was told that I didn't show remorse towards the police and what have you. I was defending myself. Why should I show remorse to someone that I'm defending myself? So anyway, we can just hope that to bring it back, at least if they just actually put particulars into the case, it'd actually probably shorten trials down, because if you actually knew the actual particulars you were facing rather than the big court briefs with 15 different police, keeping 9 statements and all of this, just say we have to prove this beyond reasonable doubt. And you'd know, well, can I defend that or can I not defend that?
Yeah.
It would actually save a lot of money.
Exactly. A lot of time and effort.
They want people,
I mean, I think Didge makes a good point here. What sovereignty are these courts accountable to? Isn't it interesting how they don't follow their own rules? And that's the big point that, I've seen even some of the Indigenous that I spoke to a few years ago were trying to make the point of. It's like, you've got to force these people to follow their own bloody rules. This is insane. They set all these laws and all these rules, and then they seem to think that they don't themselves have to abide by them. It's just madness. It's like,
someone asked the other day, is there any evidence in this court? Is there any particulars or any evidence filed in this court? And they were told to be quiet, that it was inappropriate for them to be speaking. What? And lo and behold, under Section 154, they went and had a look, because it actually, the legislation, when the register says you can't, they'll say the judge or magistrate's taken the court file home, or it's in their thing, and they'll keep balking you to not give you the file. But that section of the legislation that I read, it says that they must give you a copy of the file. You don't get to see what's written on the back, though, and they actually have to give you a copy. And you'll find, which most people that I know that have clued onto this, there's nothing filed in the court other than a bench charge sheet, which is a charge. It's not particulars. So they're not abiding by from what I understand anyway. You don't get your particulars until the day you go to trial. How could you prepare for that?
That's madness. It's how can anybody have faith in a system that's clearly not fair?
No, there's a lot of things I'd like to say about the Citizenship Act and who we are and persons and all the rest of it, which is all relevant. But for now, well, that's being dealt with elsewhere. just the everyday magistrates court, which is 98% of people that go through it, wouldn't it just be great if they gave people the opportunity to speak? They, you really don't have to turn up to court. I'm not telling people not to. I would not recommend that happen because they'll put a warrant out and blah, blah, blah. But there's no particulars filed in the court. I don't know why you're turning up to court because you don't know what you've done.
Yeah, exactly. Mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah. And then they read it out as a complaint to the court, and it should be filed in the court. You have 3 copies. You get one, they get one stays on the court file.
Yeah.
Transparent. Everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah,
I had the criminal the criminal lawyer emailed me and she asked me what my movements were in the court case yesterday. And I went back to her and I said, is that normally what you do, that you actually ask the party what they're going to do in court before they get to court? That'd be like saying, which way are you going to kick the ball so I know how to block it? And she said, yes, she normally does. She contacts the QPS and the DPP before court to get a rough idea. And I said, but the QPS is not a juristic entity, not law, and was the DPP. And I gave her all the information. And she, I think it was 4 times, she kept coming back saying, what are you doing tomorrow? What's my angle? And she said, that's what she does. And I said, but you probably do have to do that with the police because there's nothing on file. That's why it's so normal for you to communicate, because you can't go to the court file because you can't see what's happening. But in my case, you can, because I've put it on file, because I was the prosecutor.
Wow. Apparently, even the subtitles on Facebook are getting everything wrong.
It gives you an overview of who you are. It's the new meta, whatever it is. And it actually, in my says that I lost against the state of Queensland, which is not true. I settled in out of court settlement. It also says that I was charged with 6 charges, and it goes into explain what those are, but it doesn't actually say that they were withdrawn from the court and never prosecuted. And all this stuff, it's just, I've gone in and tried to make reports and change it and what have you, but you just have to wonder who is putting this stuff up and where these overviews come from, because are those judgments that are actually, they're released to the public, the judgments. You can look
so
them
that's
up.
Meta AI, is
How
it?
come then?
Let's have a look. So what are you
Obviously,
getting?
I don't
Who is Heidi Ward?
So if you just put in my name, Heidi Ward with Sundays, it's different when you do it on the phone, when you do it on the computer.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'll do it now.
Providing a date of birth. What?
Change now. Images.
Apparently, you've got to put your date of birth to get the right answers from Meta AI. That's interesting.
Show more images. It had an overview the other day, and I'm just like, what? But first cab, look, there's photos and whatever, but it comes straight up, and first cab off the rank that talks about me is Freeman Delusion. How does he get the space above the Courier Mail? I don't even know how it all works, but put that out. Just take that. Not about it, but for
I'm not really. I don't know. See if you can bring up what you're saying, because I'm not getting the kind of responses I'm looking for.
Oh, I just found another lovely article from Robert City.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's a dick twat, isn't he? Anyway, you got and he actually charges. You've got to join a monthly membership with him to get his information, and then they're saying con artists and people charging for money. So he's actually charging to access this encyclopedia. Please renew your 3-month membership, 6-month membership. So he's actually making money out of it.
Oh, wow. So there's more of that projection.
Yeah, same.
They accuse you of what they themselves are doing. Very interesting.
Anyway, I can't find it now. Anyway, every time I go on there, there's something new.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I just found it myself, so we can all see. Here it is. The free man delusion himself. To access the encyclopedia content, please renew your 3-month membership, 6-month membership, 12-month membership, or gold membership. If you're already a member, log in here to redirect back to this page. Alternatively, documents are available on the homepage. Wow. It's a pseudo-law adherent who lives in the Sunday region in Queensland, although influenced by various gurus. She's close to Daryl O'Brien. Did they spell his name right? And the concepts he promotes. Sorry?
No, I don't think that's how you spell his name. It's Ian.
I don't think that's how you spell his name. You can't even spell people's names right. Wow. And they want to go and have a go at you for your spelling mistakes. This is hilarious. So who's selling snake oil? Right? Who's selling snake oil? Who's delusional?
Yeah. And if it's not a big thing, who cares about it?
Yeah.
He's actually making money off these people, and obviously because I've gained so much attention over all this stuff, he's really targeted me because he's getting a platform with his 5 likes that he's got on his page.
He should be paying you royalties.
Yeah. He'll be paying royalties. He will be paying royalties, don't worry.
I look forward to seeing it.
Definitely some talk amongst ourselves. I don't know Zev. I don't have anything to do with Derek Ballog. I don't want anything to do with Derek Ballog, but definitely, and I definitely don't know Zevy, but whatever his name is, Desi Freeman.
Yeah.
But definitely amongst the Daryl O'Briens and Mike Palmers, we're definitely looking at taking this a lot further as far as defamation is concerned, and clarifying what sovereign citizen means, because all it is a name of slander and belittling, and that's disgusting.
I believe, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, in this case, what they've put in the paper and what they're saying about con artists and this and that and the other thing, I wish I was charging people, and I wish I was making some money.
Yeah.
Things have never been so tight for me because I spend so much time doing these documents. Just that complaint back then took me 10 hours to get right, and then someone still found some bloody spelling mistakes in it. All right.
That's it.
Last I looked, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not university educated. I'm really not interested. I was a waitress that owned restaurants. So they can criticise my spelling all day. Like, I'd love to see them stand in front of a court and actually do what we've had to have. Yeah.
Exactly. That's obviously what concerns them the most. They seem to think that they're coming from a place of entitlement or privilege themselves, and who the hell are we to stand up against them and say, no, we're not having any of this.
Yeah, you little people.
Just supposed to Look out for them swelling mistakes.
Yeah, swelling. And but yeah, I went on and I did, I gave them my CV, if you'd call it that, of what I've achieved in my life, and I'm not going to put it on here, and things I've studied and written and done and been and whatever, and I put hardly anti-government. I've had a very full life, and I guarantee you that Robert Sudi didn't know any of that stuff other than what's been put in the paper. And now I'm just like, okay, so where do you find the sovereign citizen in someone trying the best they can, the best that they have, and not lose? It would have cost $1 million at least this far to get where I've got to. For the trials that I've had, and 2.6 years, 3 different matters, blah, blah, blah. You'd lose your house. You'd lose everything that you have if you paid for a lawyer. Yeah. And that's a big problem with the system. Legal aid, I don't know that I can say.
No, they're useless.
What the lawyers charge, but the classic with the lawyers is, so they one breath saying to me, they're suing me for acting as a lawyer or holding myself out to be one. When the lawyer stands in front of the court and says, my client instructs us.
Interesting.
So we've given advice, but then the client, who's a non-lawyer, advises them as to what their next step. So if the client advises the lawyer, is the client not giving the lawyer legal advice?
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
It's how the lawyer gets away with liability or indemnity against them because their client told them to do it.
Wow.
But they do. They get up and say, I don't have instructions from my client, or I haven't been instructed by my client, or I've been advised now that my client wants to go ahead with this, or we want to raise an application, whatever it might be. Yeah.
It's all trickery, isn't it?
Yep.
One big game of trickery. Very deceitful system.
I had a recent matter with the council, and I claimed certain things happened to it. I'm not going to go into that right now, but basically I claimed extortion in a Calder Bank offer, and they came back and said, our client has advised us this, and that. And I went, wouldn't that be interesting now? Because who's actually responsible for the extortion? It is the lawyer that actually wrote the letter and sent it, or is it the client that advised them to do the Calder Bank offer?
Good question. I guess we'll find out.
Well, let's go. If the Legal Service Commissioner continues to troll, this is all going to be raised. It has to be raised.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
And I've started painting my balcony, which is not an easy task. So I'm going to go and put some old clothes on and a paintbrush in my hand.
No worries. Well, is there anything else you want to add today, or shall we wrap it up there?
I reckon that's enough for today. We might they might bring it as another exhibit against me if I say anything more.
Well, I look forward to going in the court and seeing.
I guess the last thing I'd like to say is that I really hope that Rob's having a lovely day, and he's well, and he's found someone else to pick on, because once this is over, I don't know what he's going to actually do. He might be out of a job with pseudo law or something like that, because there can't be just the couple of us that he writes about.
Yeah. Very interesting.
If he wants to be credible, he might want to get, like you said, names right when he's saying that he has the biggest encyclopedia and he's such a guru.
Yeah, exactly. It's fascinating stuff. The pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Is he allowed to get information from the universities and then make money on that?
Yeah, that's another good question. I guess we'll find that out too. Looking forward to it. No worries. Well, thank you very much, Heidi. It's been very entertaining. Sorry to the audience if it's been a bit hard to understand. Hopefully it'll work better in a rerun or something. I don't know. maybe it'll sort itself out later. We'll see what happens. Yeah, shoot me an email if this needs to be re-uploaded. NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com. If you're watching this and it hasn't worked properly and you need me to re-upload it, just let me know. I can also send you links to another platform that may function better. Nobody from X seemed to complain about it, or any of the other platforms, so hopefully it's working better there. I'll have to go and have a look and see what the hell happened myself. Alrighty then. Well, thank you very much, Heidi. You have a good one, and I'll see you next time for the next show.
Go and find the ice cream truck.
I've already been there and done that one. No worries. Thank you very much. See you later. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.